Patrice Malacar is the Vice President, Quebec and Atlantic Provinces of CCA Africa. So he's a part of the team. Patrice has a background in commercial aviation and tourism. He's the CEO and general manager of Aviajet Canada. His expertise is airline sales, marketing, travel, and development business. He's been part of Africa for a long time and has assisted countries on strategies and on numerous transatlantic routes. So, Patrice, the problem by being the last speaker is you get squeezed in, and that's always our reality. I know we have a lot of questions, so I would ask you, because we have 15 minutes left, so I just ask you, if I know it's sad, if you can be brief, but also tell us how we can go to Africa, because I know a lot of people who want to go and just don't know how to go right now. Patrice?
Sure. Can you hear me?
Yes, very well. Very well.
Excellent. So, Benoit, thank you very much. I will try to be as brief as possible. First of all, I would like to say that, as Jean-Francois just mentioned today, it's indeed great to have the possibility to communicate with the new IT tools like Zoom and Skype and other tools. But still, I believe that to do business in Africa, it's still very important to meet our partners face to face, have the opportunity to shake hands and to socialize. And that's why the airline services is so important. And of course, the airlines are playing a key role in order to allow people to meet in person. So I would like to be, I'd like to be brief and to give you a short update on the situation. As you all know, the economical impact on the COVID-19 is really created a real disaster for the airline and travel industry. As you all know, most of the countries were forced to close their borders around the world. It's still almost the case now. All airlines, of course, had to ground up almost 90% of their fleet, and 20 million of direct or indirect jobs are still at risk until the aviation sector is up and running again. Just in Canada, you know that Air Canada recently laid off almost 20,000 employees, which is representing, I believe, around 50% of their workforce. And the International Airline Transport Association, IATA, made a catastrophic observation recently of the air transport situation. About 60 billion, could disappear from airlines' cash reserves in the second quarter alone. Globally, the demand is down by 70% from last year and 90% in Europe. If the airplanes don't fly, of course, the availability of many of these jobs will disappear. And that's the reason why IATA called all the governments to urgently provide financial assistance to the airlines. And I think that at this point, in the US and Canada, in France, and many countries, the governments already announced that they will support financially their national carriers. Half of the airlines are still at risk of running out of cash within 2 or 3 months, and the small independent and low-cost airlines, which have not yet reached their substantial financial structure, might disappear from the radar. In early April, the collapse of the world traffic already reached 80% compared to last year. So the question is how the airlines will restart again. So this restart is a complicated operation, and speed is essential. In the most optimistic scenario, it will take 3 or 4 years to reach the level of last year traffic and the same rate of growth. Airlines are already planning to gradually restart their operation end of June with drastic safety and health measures at the airports and on board. This has been put in place in collaboration with IATA and the World Health Organization to harmonize the measure that will be taken not only on board the aircraft, but also at the airport. So with an implementation of new personal safety and sanitary measure to give customer added confidence, such as mandatory pre-flight customer temperature checks, personal care kits containing disinfectant and safety items, electrostatic cabin spraying to reinforce aircraft grooming protocols, and special food products to minimize the crew and passenger contact. Also, customers will have to wear a face covering during their travel, including at the check-in and during the boarding, and when they will be directed to the gate. So the onboard services will be also adjusted with individual water bottles instead of a bar service, offering bar service and the removal of pillows and blankets. So they are all the airlines are putting in place protocols to use for the use of personal protective equipment by the employees, including face shield and covering, gloves and gowns in the in-flight for the in-flight crew. So it will be, of course, a little bit different to travel this way, but IATA and the airlines are really trying to put in place all the safety measure to make sure that people, travelers will not be infected, of course, and they will be able to travel in a safe way. So at this point, several airlines are already planning to restart part of their schedule by the beginning of June, and mainly by the end of June, which is, as you know, usually the high season. So, for instance, Ethiopian Airlines have still 2 flights out of Canada, and they didn't stop flying because they kept this service from Toronto to Addis Ababa, with connections to several destinations like Lusaka, Harare, and Maputo. So from Toronto, Ethiopian is still offering a possibility to travel non-stop to Africa. And in June, progressively, Air France will increase its schedule from Canada to Dakar, Abidjan, Cotonou, Bamako, Conakry, Lomé, Nouakchott, Niamey, Libreville, Douala, Yaoundé, Kinshasa, and a few other African destinations via Paris. At this point, we don't know exactly what will happen with other carriers flying to Africa, like Royal Maroc from Montreal to Casablanca, Air Algérie to Algiers, to Niger, Egypt, and KLM. For those carriers, we don't know yet what is the final planning to restart their service from Canada to Africa via Europe, or not directly like Royal Maroc or Air Algérie. The question that maybe people will need to have an answer is the ticket price. Usually for most of the airlines, they need to have an average load factor of 75% to break even, meaning that usually they might have like 50% load factor in low season and 100% load factor in high season. Now, the plan is to restart in high season. As I said, most of the airlines will start again flying in the month of June, in the core of the month of June. But the problem is that we can already anticipate that there will be very few tourists, students or seniors or groups traveling, because everybody will wait a little bit later to make sure that everything is safe to travel and to spend some holiday in different countries. So the traffic, the anticipated traffic will be probably limited to what we call the ethnic markets and the business markets. People would really need to travel for different reasons. Also, for the time being, and probably the airlines will try to keep some kind of physical distance between the passengers, meaning that they will eventually keep one empty seat between passengers. And this will have an impact on the load factor because with one empty seat between two seats, it means that the maximum load factor will be 65%. So that's the reason why we can already anticipate that most probably the average price will go up accordingly. Also, as I mentioned, the month of June is already, especially end of June, beginning of July, is high season. So we can already anticipate that the average ticket price will go up. Now, talking about, I'm very pleased that Mr. Negatu also mentioned the potential for a major growth opportunity of tourism for the tourism industry in Africa. And of course, the tourism industry in countries such as Morocco, Tunisia, Egypt, Kenya, Tanzania, South Africa, Senegal is again deeply affected by this COVID-19 outbreak. These countries were already affected by the terrorism attack in the past, and the tourism went down, decreased really in these countries. So it's going to be difficult, and it will take time to redevelop and the tourism to Africa. But there are a lot of opportunities, and African countries aiming to develop their tourism industry in the future would have to redefine their strategies and also to diversify their markets and go to focus only on key markets, key incoming markets such as Europe or China. But in this perspective, I do believe that Canada can offer a great opportunity for the African countries to develop their tourism. As you know, Canadians are like to travel. Canadians travel all over the world. And almost 10% of the Canadian population are traveling on international destinations and are looking for new destinations. So I think that there is a great opportunity for the African countries to develop their market, the tourism industry from Canada. And in that perspective, the Canadian Council on Africa can also play a role because we have the expertise how to promote destinations. So that's something that the Canadian Council on Africa could do and could help to promote African destinations from Canada. So in order to be well informed about the modification of the schedule of the airlines, because it's changing every day, so it's not easy to give precise information on the schedule and the reopening of routes and so on. My suggestion for you is to contact a professional travel agency, ideally agencies which have NIATA accreditation in Canada, and also who are member of the ACTA, the Association of Travel Agencies in Canada. These people, they know exactly what's happening day by day. They are following all the information coming from the airlines in terms of pricing, in terms of availability, in terms of conditions of traveling. So this would be my suggestion. So thank you for your attention, and I will be pleased to answer your questions if you have a question about traveling. Thank you very much for your time.